Let's talk about history, not the boring kind you slept through in school, but the kind that directly explains why today's politics are so chaotic and often feel completely absurd. We're talking about the real-world consequences of decisions made long ago. Policies don't just appear out of thin air. They're the messy, often contradictory result of decades of political battles, shifting economic theories, and compromises made behind closed doors. Right now, the One Big Beautiful Bill Act of 2025 is the perfect example, a prime illustration of how these forces come together. It's a sprawling piece of legislation, thousands of pages long, that tries to do everything for everyone, but mostly serves those with the loudest voices and deepest pockets, the lobbyists and special interests. To understand it, you have to look past the sensational headlines and dive deep into the fine print, the clauses and subclauses that no one reads. That's where the real impact on your life is hidden, buried beneath layers of legal jargon. This bill isn't just some abstract DC debate happening in a far-off world. It will directly affect your groceries and the prices you pay at the checkout, your schools, the quality of education your children receive, and even the air you breathe, the environment around you. You might not have had a say in its creation, as these decisions are often made behind closed doors, but you'll definitely feel its consequences whether you realize it or not. So let's unpack what this bill actually does, who it really helps, and who inevitably gets left behind in the process. Because if you're not paying attention to these seemingly distant political machinations, you might wake up one day to a country you barely recognize, transformed by policies you never understood. So, what's actually inside the One Big Beautiful Bill? What hidden clauses and special interests have found their way into this piece of legislation? Imagine a bill written not just by lawmakers, but also influenced by a Wall Street banker, a farmer advocating for their livelihood, and your dad concerned about retirement. Everyone gets something they want, or at least that's the idea. The bill makes the 2017 tax cuts permanent for corporations, a move celebrated by big business. It also extends those tax cuts to high-income earners, further widening the wealth gap. But the question remains, who pays for it all? The answer is, while everyone else is left footing the bill, it also pours a significant amount of money into defense, bolstering military spending, and it allocates funds for rural infrastructure. Fighter jets for some, a symbol of national security, broadband and farm subsidies for others, aiming to bridge the digital divide and support agricultural communities. But what's the price tag for all of this? A massive hike in the debt ceiling, allowing the government to accumulate even more debt. This essentially means letting the government borrow even more money to finance its operations. This borrowing was the only way to pay for all the new spending initiatives and tax breaks included in the bill. The negotiations to get to this point were brutal, filled with intense debate and compromise. It was a process marked with last-minute deals and political horse trading, as different factions fought for their priorities. All of this ultimately shaping the final product that gets signed into law. In the end, the bill is presented as a masterclass in compromise, a testament to bipartisan cooperation. But if by compromise you mean a few big winners reaping the rewards and a lot of people feeling left out and underserved, then perhaps the term compromise needs reevaluating. Laws aren't just abstract ideas floating in the ether. They're the direct result of power struggles between competing interests, and often the product of backroom deals that the public never sees. And when you look closely at this bill, it becomes clear that it has a very clear set of winners and losers, shaping the economic landscape for years to come. How did such a controversial bill pass in a divided Congress? Enter budget reconciliation, the government's legislative cheat code. Normally, you need 60 Senate votes to pass a bill, but reconciliation lets you do it with just 51. No filibuster, no need for bipartisan support, just a simple majority. Both parties have used this tool to push through their biggest priorities, and this bill was tailor-made for it. The majority party didn't need to compromise with the minority, just keep their own members happy with targeted spending. It's a shortcut that deepens partisan divides and lets massive laws pass with razor-thin support. The result? Wild policy swings and a country where nearly half the population feels ignored. Reconciliation may get things done, but it leaves a bitter aftertaste. Every big bill creates winners and losers, And this one draws the line sharply. Winners: high-income earners and corporations who keep their tax cuts, defense contractors who get a budget windfall, and rural communities who see new investment. For these groups, the bill is a direct boost to their bottom line. Losers: social programs and environmental protections which face deep cuts. Millions relying on housing, food assistance, or job training will feel the squeeze. Environmental rollbacks and slash funding for renewables are the price paid to secure votes from fossil fuel states. The result? A more divided America. Some thrive, while the poor and the planet pay the price. The bill redraws the map of opportunity, favoring the powerful and well-connected. A budget is more than numbers. It's a statement of values. This bill doubles down on military power and economic growth for those at the top, while sidelining social safety nets and climate action. The message national strength means a big military and a booming stock market, not necessarily a healthy, equitable society. Rural spending isn't just about helping communities. It's about winning key votes. If you're part of a powerful voting bloc, you get prioritized. If not, you wait. The bill bets on old models of strength, not new ones like sustainability or innovation. It's a gamble that the old ways still work, even as the world changes. Not everyone agrees with that bet, but for now, it's the law of the land. Let's talk about the national debt. The bill treats it like a teenager with a credit card. Permanent tax cuts and new spending mean trillions more in debt over the next decade. Supporters say the tax cuts will pay for themselves and that defense and infrastructure are smart investments. Critics argue the debt will lead to higher inflation, rising interest rates, and less money for future crises. More debt means more of the budget goes to interest payments, leaving less for everything else. It's like spending so much on credit card interest you can't afford rent. The bill prioritizes immediate gains over long-term stability, a risky move with consequences we won't see for years. The real cost will be paid by future generations. How does this bill affect your daily life? What impact will it have on your family, your community, and your future prospects? For some, it translates to more money in their paycheck, a welcome boost to their financial well-being. For others, it could mean better rural infrastructure, improved roads, and enhanced community services. But for others still, it means cuts to vital support systems like food stamps, affordable housing, and job training programs, creating significant hardship. Real struggles at the grocery store where every dollar counts and rising costs can be devastating. And constant anxiety about when rent is due, a burden that weighs heavily on many families. Environmental rollbacks might not hit you tomorrow with immediate effect, but could mean dirtier air and water down the line, impacting public health and the environment for generations to come. The growing national debt could push up interest rates, affecting the entire economy, making mortgages, car loans, and business borrowing more expensive, potentially stifling economic growth. These changes creep into your life, often unnoticed at first, squeezing budgets and opportunities, leaving less room for savings, investments, and future planning. The bill creates new pathways and possibilities for some individuals and businesses, while simultaneously erecting new barriers for others, hindering their progress and potential. Policy is personal. It's not just abstract numbers and statistics. These decisions shape your wallet, your health, and your future, impacting every aspect of your well-being. Whether you win or lose depends on who you are, where you live, and the specific circumstances of your life. For most, the outcome is uncertain, a complex web of potential benefits and drawbacks. The One Big Beautiful Bill Act is a monument to political power and compromise, setting America on a new path. It locks in priorities: military, corporate health, rural investment, while accepting more debt and cutting social and environmental programs. Thanks to tools like reconciliation, sweeping changes now happen with the slimmest majorities, deepening divides. The bill is another brick in the wall separating two Americas, each with its own vision for the future. It forces us to ask, what kind of country do we want to be? Growth at any cost or something more sustainable and fair? This bill answers for now, but the real story is what Americans do next. The future isn't set by one bill, it's shaped by what we demand and how we respond.